So, yeah, so in the last probably couple weeks over here in Perth, we've probably been averaging around 39, 40 degrees. So out where we are, which is sort of 3/4 of an hour north of Perth, it actually got to 43 one day last week. So yeah, it's got really, really hot. So unlike people, we can go inside and flick the aircon on. But as you know, the birds can't, and you've got to come up with ways to try and keep the birds cool because some birds just don't like it and can't handle it at all. So also with a lot of the cages that you build are probably been built out of steel structure, and then you've got obviously the wire, then you've probably got tin and things like that, so it does heat up. So I was just going to tell you a few things that we do here, and might be of use to people that live in these real hot conditions in the areas. So, all right. So what we did when we started building the aviaries with the roof, we actually put freezer paneling on top of the aviaries, so it was 100 millimetres thick, so with foam in the middle and obviously tin both sides. So that does help a lot on the roof of the cage. But I understand that, you know, people have already built cages, and not everyone can just go out and do that. So what you can possibly do is on the top of your cage, you could put a mister with just a little bit of 12 mil retic hose with some real fine microjet little sprinklers on top, and that can be obtained at your local hardware or your local Bunnings store or anywhere like that. So, and then you can just get a tap timer. Only needs to come on for, you know, a couple minutes in the hotter parts of the day, so that way it can take some heat off the top of the cage, which is always a good thing. The other thing that we find that we do around our aviaries, we have a lot of either grass or natural shrubs. There's a little bit of concrete and things like that. So best thing to do if you know you've got a real hot day coming is either get up early that morning, real early, and just wet all that down around the cage. So not necessarily inside the cage, but if you keep it all quite wet around, you'll find that does drop the temperature a fair bit as well. So we've done it here. A lot of our cages are planted aviaries, so it obviously got a lot of grass and shrubs and things like that in. So I tend to, the night before, wet that down a fair bit as well. Only thing with wetting aviaries, obviously, and then heating up, wetting, heating up, you've really got to keep an eye on the on worms. You know, that's the sort of ideal conditions that worms love to live in. So sometimes you've got to also then be mindful that you will have to, not on a real hot day, because you can't worm your birds on hot days, but probably need to be a little bit mindful of that. But yeah, so there's you know, a couple things that we do. If you're thinking of like building aviaries, for example, we actually face our cages to the north, mainly basically for the winter months. And I know it's not winter at the moment, obviously, but in the winter months, see, they get the nice afternoon suns. It warms up the cages. But in the summertime, gets a bit of that morning heat, but then when at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and right through till 6, 7 before the sun goes down, you're sort of only getting the heat on the end of your aviary as the sun sets in the west over here. The other thing that we've found really successful, and they weren't over expensive, is we bought some like shade cloth blinds. Got them down at Bunnings, and what we did was actually screw them to the top of the cage, and then you can actually pull them down and clip them to the bottom. Come out about 100 millimetres, 150 millimetres on a bit of an angle, so a little bit of breeze can still get in, and that also helps a fair bit. Takes a lot of the afternoon sun off of the cage, which does help. So just a few little things that I know that we do. Obviously, water first thing in the morning. If you're lucky enough at lunchtime, we tend not to go near the aviaries on real hot days in the middle of the day, because you'll find the birds will all be down on the ground, because that is the coolest position for them. So the moment you go out there and probably start banging and clanging, the birds will fly up. But definitely first thing in the morning, and then as the sun's going down, the birds are moving around. It's really important that they get fresh water, because the water does tend to go off when it's really hot. So really important that you keep your fresh water up to your birds. So look, there's just a couple little things that I could think of, but it's a really good idea. It's been proven. I'm pretty sure in the state of South Australia are actually allowed to have you in water restricted areas. You're actually allowed to put water on for the birds, because it's been a proven fact that by wetting everything around the aviaries can drop the temperature up to 10-15 degrees. So which is really good for any type of bird that you keep in an aviary setup. So look, there's just a couple things that I could think of. So yeah, maybe give that a try. And yep, okay, no worries.